More people have heard this song than the entire population of the United States, and the story behind its creation is a lot more interesting than you might think. It was written by an animator with no musical experience, it was composed by a former jazz band leader, and yet it somehow managed to be one of the most recognizable theme park ride songs ever created. So strike your colors, you bloomin' cockroaches, because today we're diving in deep to the music behind Pirates of the Caribbean and the song Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me. Hey party people, I'm Chris Waffle, and welcome to Area Loop, where we look at the songs that make the rides and the music that makes the parks. And in today's video, we're looking at the music from one of the most amazing theme park rides ever created, Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, since its opening on March 18th, 1967, Disney estimates that over 400 million people have ridden the ride, which means that more people have experienced the song Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me than the entire population of the United States. So just to put that into perspective for a second, if we take, say, Taylor Swift's song Anti-Hero, that song's been streamed on Spotify, let's see here, well over 1.9 billion times, making it one of the most streamed songs in her entire catalog. So more than Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me, but you get the idea. All right, back to the song. After premiering at Disneyland in California, it was so popular that, of course, other versions followed. First with an abbreviated version at the Magic Kingdom Park in Florida, followed by an almost identical version at Tokyo Disneyland, and then an updated and expanded version in Paris Disneyland, and then the latest version being a very different style of ride that's at Shanghai Disneyland. All 5 rides contain a version of the song Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me, translated into the language of that country. Well, except for the newest ride at Shanghai Disneyland, which just has this. Yo-Ho, yo-ho. The idea for a Pirates-themed attraction actually goes back to the 1950s, back when they were first envisioning the land New Orleans Square.
Pirates is one of the earliest attractions designed for Disneyland, but it was going to be a wax museum. You'd walk through and see static scenes of great moments in pirate mythology.
And it's not clear if or what music was envisioned for that version of the attraction. But after the 1964 World's Fair and the creation of the new audio animatronics that debuted there, as well as Aero Technologies working with Disney to perfect the water trough boat ride system, it was clear that WED Enterprises could create a much grander attraction.
Big breakthrough, I think, was in It's a Small World with the boat ride, because all of a sudden we were handling over 3,000 people an hour. And if you go back to the history of Disneyland, the first 6 years or so before we started working on the fair, you could handle maybe up to 2,000 people an hour on the Jungle Cruise. It enabled the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction, which opened in Disneyland in 1967.
So it was all hands on deck at Imagineering in 1965, where Walt tapped Francis X. Xavier Atencio to write the script for the ride. Everything the pirates would say and bring the narrative together as a cohesive story. This might have been one of Atencio's very first assignments as an Imagineer.
My first job was Pirates of the Caribbean.
Atencio had started with the Disney Company in 1938 as an animator and ended up writing some very notable scripts and song lyrics for classic rides we all know and love today.
I had never done scripts before. I had done a lot of storyboarding and things like story work at the studio. The auction scene was the first one I did, and I sent it over to Walt. He said, yeah, that's great, fine, just keep going.
The design of the ride had already been well underway by the time Walt brought Atencio on board to help with the script. You know, fun fact, his voice can be heard as the talking skull before the first drop.
It be too late to alter course, matey.
As well as every comedian's favorite, the inebriated heckler.
Makes it six? Six it be. Six bottles of rum.
In a 2003 Los Angeles Times interview regarding the idea for the song, Atencio recalled, I think it was at the final story meeting I had with Walt that I brought it up. I had a rough idea for a lyric and melody in mind, so I recited and half sang the Yo-Ho song, and Walt said, great, get George to do the music and we'll put it in the show. Side note here, I find it really interesting that Walt often called the ride a show rather than a ride, sometimes an attraction.
This will animate when we have it in the show, you know. Or the show would go to pieces, you see. He has to stay there all the time and keep trying to get away.
I don't know. I just think it gives a really interesting insight on how they were approaching these rides at the time. And how a song, a theme song and a score would be something that would be a perfect fit for the experience. Anyway, not being a musician himself, Atencio kind of assumed that Walt was going to give the song idea to the Sherman Brothers to create. After all, they had just penned It's a Small World that debuted at the 1964 World's Fair. And just a year prior, they had won some Academy Awards for their music in Mary Poppins. But to his surprise, he said, you write it, and also get George to do the music. So who was George? Well, that, of course, would be the great composer, jazz musician, musical director, and native Oregonian, George Edward Bruns. At this point, George had already had a lot of success with Disney, had composed songs like The Ballad of Davy Crockett. You know that one?
He went off to Congress and he served a spell, fixing up the government and laws as well.
How about scoring the music for Sleeping Beauty? Ring any bells? Exactly. I mean, the list goes on. But he had also just been the musical director for the Enchanted Tiki Room attraction just a couple years prior. Okay, so now we've got Atencio writing the lyrics. We got Bruns composing the music. Who are we going to get to sing the song? Anybody? Anybody want to come sing this pirate song? Is Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters available? No? Well, it just so happened that George knew some dudes. They had just done a bunch of vocals for songs on the Mickey Mouse Club, and the bass singer of the group was the voice of Fritz in the Enchanted Tiki Room. Enter the Mellow Men. Not only could these guys party hard with Elvis, I assume, TCB, am I right? But apparently they had a bunch of time to record a bunch of songs for Walt, and they had a tenor who could do this. So now we have all the ingredients for the perfect pirate stew. So let's get into the song, Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me. What do you say? Arr! Atencio recalled that when Walt first gave him the assignment, he decided to dive into the pirate lore of the day, which meant that he mostly watched pirate movies from the 40s and 50s, including Walt Disney's very first feature film, the very popular at the time, Treasure Island. And he basically used Robert Newton's portrayal of Long John Silver as how all the pirates would talk on the ride.
This will animate when we have it in the show, you know.
Sorry, show. Many of those films had sea shanty style songs in them, and since Hollywood isn't known for its accurate portrayal of history, the word style is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. But they had a lot of these songs, and it stands to reason that both Atencio and Bruns were very heavily influenced by this.
15 men on a dead man's chest, yo-ho-ho, and a bottle of rum.
And this from Disney's own Peter Pan.
Give me a career as a buccaneer, it's the life of a pirate for me. Oh! of a pirate for me.
Atencio would later state that Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me was challenging as the ride doesn't have a typical beginning and ending, meaning that the tune needed to work with whatever pirate vignette that we were sailing by. Whatever the inspiration, what we ended up with is the classic Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me that we all know and love. The song itself sounds kind of like something you would hear in the 1700s in a pub in Tortuga or something. It's got like stand-up bass, a concertina, a stringed instrument of some sort, like a guitar or a mandolin, something like that. So let's check it out. How does it go? How does it go? Okay, so let's check out the song. I got my trusty bass here. I know that this would probably be more interesting and entertaining if I could play the harpsichord or something, but I only know how to play the bass, and I don't play it that well. And no one likes a song played just on bass, but bear with me. We're going to go over the songs. You can actually find a number of different music sheets on the internet showing the instrumentation of it. Some of them start in different keys. I'm going to do the one that is in D minor.
Which I always find is really the saddest of all keys, really. I don't know why, but it makes people weep instantly to play that.
So we're going to do that, which on my bass starts in F, but it kind of just goes like this. It's almost just a simple thing that repeats throughout the ride. So what I would do is go from the F to an A sharp B minor. I don't think you would do that on guitar. But it sounds right to me when I play it. Then C, then back to F. Then the D minor section, D minor A, and then back to the B flat, G, C, and then back to the F again. So it would be something like this. Well, I messed up the end. Something like that. Go back to the G, F, G. And then just over and over and over again. So the pirates are trashing the town, setting things on fire. It's crazy. It's insanity. I put the bass away. You'll see it in the future. But you get the idea. If you haven't experienced this song in person on the ride, then you should stop what you're doing, go to a park somewhere in the world, and see it for yourself. You know, I would be remiss if I also did not mention the overall pirate overture that George Bruns wrote for the ride. It takes from that initial chord progression that I just went over. And he really takes it in some very interesting directions, sometimes making it very kind of tense and foreboding. And then other times almost making it into this like 60s jazz bossa nova thing. And that plays very much into George's history as kind of a jazz musician and band leader. Now, how about these lyrics? The lyrics that Atencio wrote. You know, when you listen to them, they're very clear that these pirates are really bad eggs. I'm not sure you would see lyrics like this from scratch in a ride today.
Some pretty raunchy old pirates chasing these ladies around, and but we could, come out and blatantly say that they were doing bad things to these ladies, that they were having fun, and they were just a bunch of fun-loving pirates.
Let's see here. Now, we've got these pirates. They pillage, they kidnap, they ravage, loot, extort and embezzle. They burn up the city. But at least they're loved by their mommies and dads. I mean, Who wouldn't be proud of this guy?
Sore I be to hoist me colours on the likes of that shy little wench.
An interesting thing about the different versions of the ride, the Disneyland version, the original, is the only one where the song Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me starts immediately after the first drops in the ride. Almost like it's a theme song and you're starting the show, and here it is. And very interesting in that sense. And then in all the versions of the ride, except Shanghai, and all the other versions of the ride, you kind of come around to the town. The town's being ransacked. Everything's on fire. And then out of nowhere, pirates just start rocking out. And that just shows you the kind of power that a song can have in a ride experience. It turns out that the true Pirates of the Caribbean were the friends we made along the way.
I be willing to share, I be.
Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me is more than a theme park ride song. It's become a theme park anthem, a movie motif, a pop culture reference, a meme. And that's all thanks to some great songwriting that stood the test of time for more than half a century. So, party people, what's your favorite part of the music on this ride? Do you think the song Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me still holds up today? Do you think the idea of a theme park ride theme song has passed? What other songs or area loop music do you want to hear more about? I want to hear from you in the comments below. Let me know. And if you enjoyed this, I'm Chris Waffle. The channel is Area Loop. And you can give me the old like and subscribe, because in every video we'll be taking a look at the music and asking,
hey, what happened?
And in the next episode, we're going to take to the skies. Until then, remember, if you ever get a song stuck in your head, it just might be from a ride. How do I turn this off?